Good day. There is a word from Nigerian Pidgin English. That word is Wahala. Wahala is a persistent problem, a problem that just doesn't seem to want to go away. And when your problem is a local Wahala, it means that you have domestic problems, serious ones. And local Wahala is what is now almost shaping and defining geopolitics going forward. Three very important global leaders, world figures, have local Wahala. One of them is President Donald Trump. The other is President Netanyahu of Israel. And of course, we all know President Zelensky also. They all have domestic problems that is making them to take actions that have geopolitical implications. President Donald Trump is not able to shake off a new reality that has been dogging him all around for the past 1 or 2 months. And that reality is the revelations coming out of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The Jeffrey Epstein files have become one topic and one thing that Teflon Trump can't seem to be able to shake off. This has become his biggest challenge, and it is also now a big threat to the world because it is thought that in trying to escape or deflect attention from this is local Wahala, President Trump may take some radical actions, possibly endorse a second strike on Iran or make sure that he unleashes some excruciating sanctions on Russia. President Trump has found himself in a situation that he just can't shake off, and that is the fact that people believe that his name is among the Epstein list of clients. Jeffrey Epstein is an interesting case. He was convicted for pedophilia, and while he was still he was accused of pedophilia, and while he was still undergoing the judicial process, he mysteriously died. They say he committed suicide. He has been associated with the Mossad of Israel as having been used by the Mossad to rope in a lot of influential billionaires and politicians in compromising situations, and that has led to a long time blackmail operations. That is what is alleged. And to find himself in that list, because President Trump had, over the course of several years, throughout his campaign, assured his base, MAGA base, Make America Great Again base, that he was going to release the Epstein list and make revelations about make public what has been found during the Epstein investigations by the FBI and all the investigative organizations public. He released some of those documents, but at one point, the Department of Justice, led by Pam Bondi, held on to some information. In fact, it was thought that President Trump's name was on that list. So for the past few days and few months, he has tried his best to try and make sure that he deflects attention away from it. But there's been a groundswell. This groundswell has become a threat to global peace because in his desperation, President Trump may take action that may have some serious global consequences. Good day and welcome to my channel, Bima Amungo's Perspective on Global Affairs. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have any comments regarding the opinions I express, please put them in the comment section. And please like and share. President Trump visited Scotland, and while he was in Scotland, he was asked repeatedly about the Russian situation with Ukraine. As it stands, Ukraine is losing a lot in the battlefield. And for those people who support Ukraine, especially the European triumvirate of Germany, France, and Great Britain, and also the European Union, President Trump's actions against Russia is highly sought after, especially if he can place sanctions on them. And he was cornered into making a proclamation that rather than the 50 days of grace he was going to give to Russia, he will now make it 10. He wants Russia to come to the negotiating table and discuss a ceasefire and peace terms with the Ukrainians. Well, he had a response today. He had a response yesterday. The former Russian President Medvedev stated clearly that if he keeps threatening Russia, he's slowly moving US and Russia into a new war, because Russia is not Israel, neither is it Iran. Medvedev again made a tweet today again, and this time around he lambasted Senator Graham. Senator Lindsay Graham has become the face of the most rabid opposition in the American Senate against the Russian state. He has been on this matter for a long time, to the extent that Russia has actually designated Senator Lindsey Graham as a terrorist. He's actually been designated as a terrorist by the Russian state because he has been unrelenting in trying to get harm to come the way of Russia and Putin. And he has said that Russia should listen to President Trump and get to the negotiating table. If not, they will be crushed and destroyed by President Trump. Well, Medvedev told him clearly in his tweet that it is not up to him or even President Trump to make the Russian state to come to the negotiating table. They don't even need to bother because they are discussing with the Ukrainians in the battlefront, and the discussions is going on very well in by Russians' outlook of things. That discussion on the war front in Precarious, in Sumy, in Zaporozhye, it's going on very well, and the Russians tend to like it that way. But this threat by President Trump, might it be an attempt to deflect attention from what the Epstein files and the damage the Epstein files is doing to him and his reputation and his presidency? Because there's been nothing that has undermined President Trump more than this Epstein files. He has survived so many things thrown at him, but not this one. The organizations, people, and the institutions that are insisting that he releases the file are becoming more and more. Among them are Candace Owen, one of his greatest supporters during the campaign, Congressman Mercy, Steve Bannon, even the renowned podcaster Joe Rogan. And in one move not seen by many, shocking, there was a bipartisan agreement by the House Oversight Committee calling they voted and they agreed that they should support, they should ask for the files of they should call for the files of the Epstein files from the DOD, and that promptly made Speaker Mike Johnson to put the House on recess until further notice, I think until August or September. He shut down the House of Representatives because he was trying to escape that process. I guess they will be thinking about how they will solve that. President Trump too also made some overt statement against Iran, because when the Iranian foreign minister Abbas Araghchi gave an interview to Fox News, he said that it is still within it is still the intention of Iran to continue to enrich uranium because it's their right to do so. Well, Trump said that will mean that they may revisit that issue and bomb Iran again if that happens. So we are seeing a situation where, because of this threat to his reputation, his image, and his standing, he may just want to do something to escape and deflect and create a new form of distraction. We are waiting for the pronouncement of the 10 days to pass, and then let's see what he would come up against the Russians, because definitely we know one thing. Russia is not going to bulge. Already Dmitry Peskov, the Russian spokesman for Putin, has said that they are aware of what he has said and they are taking it in calmly. In other words, they're not perturbed or bothered. Another person who is having local wahala in the domestic front is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been trying to play the escape artist Houdini for a while now. He's already been convicted of corruption, but how to complete that process, and he's been indicted, and to escape going to jail, he has come up with mechanisms that, one, got him into power, and then two, has kept him in power, because he has not been popular all this time. He had to form a government with two very unlikely parties, one, and a Orthodox religious Jews, a religious body full of Orthodox Jews, very strong views about Jewishness in Israel. And the other one was a nationalist body, the Nationalist Party, and both of them want different things from Netanyahu. The Orthodox Jews didn't want to serve in the army because Israel has a conscription, compulsory conscription into the army, and the Jews are the only people exempt from that. They never wanted to. But because of the pressures of this war against Palestine and against Hamas, there's been pressure that they should be part of it. In fact, recently, it was passed in the Supreme Court that they can't escape it. They have threatened that they will withdraw from government and collapse Netanyahu's government. The other one is the nationalist, extreme ultra-nationalist party that wants the total and complete destruction, alienation of the people of Gaza and Palestine, and the annexation of Gaza and the West Bank. No discussion. These are the two pincher people moves that he has found himself in, the unlikely bedfellows, and each of them threatening that they would leave government and collapse the government and deliver Netanyahu to the warm embrace of the law. Netanyahu is in a bad place. He has some real local wahala. And the actions going on of the Israelis in Gaza has become the focal point of global attention. Already, two human rights organizations in Israel have said that what is going on in Gaza is genocide. A year ago, South Africa said what was going on in Israel and Gaza was, one, apartheid, and then two, genocide. And they went to court. And eventually, they got the International Criminal Court of Justice to indict Netanyahu and one of his ministers, or two of his ministers, as being culpable of genocide. Netanyahu has the support of the American government and the American presidency, so he escapes everything. In fact, he always had the support of the whole of Europe. But something new is happening. We should understand that Palestine is already a recognized state by several countries in the world, several. Only the European countries and America and also Australia have not recognized Palestine. But something new is happening because of what's going on. Children are being starved, People are dying of starvation. Many Gazans have been killed. Doctors have been killed. Journalists have been killed. And the whole of Gaza is ruined. But it is the sight of children starving that is now touching the hearts of a lot of people. So, for the first time, Britain has said that. It started with France. France says in September, because we should know the United Nations General Assembly is on recess now, that in September they will recognize Palestine in the United Nations. 200 MPs, members of parliament in Britain, have endorsed that the British government should recognize Palestine as a state. Other countries too, like Luxembourg, are already saying that they too will recognize Palestine as a state. The Europeans are breaking free. Ireland and Spain already are dogged in their criticism of the Israeli state. But recently, just a few days ago, Saudi Arabia and France held a meeting regarding what's going on in Gaza. The international community is standing up and calling the Israelis for what they are. And even President Trump has acknowledged that the starvation going on in Israel is a problem. But this problem is brought about by the local wahala that Netanyahu is facing. And Netanyahu has done well in escaping his local wahala. Whenever the cold hands of the law gets close to him, he starts a war. The gift that kept giving was the October 7th attack by Hamas. It gave him the opportunity to, one, completely destroy Gaza, two, destroy Hezbollah in Lebanon, three, overthrow the government of in Syria, and then now he went ahead when his popularity was waning so much, and there's always controversy. There are demonstrations in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and all the cities of Israel against him. He started a war against Iran. These are escapist strategies that have worked well. And when there was no war again to go after, he now started a war against Sharia in Syria, the one who took over from the Assad government. But already that one has already stopped. Israel is not in a good place and America is not in a good place, and they probably may not be able to persecute another war again because they depleted a good amount of their resources during the war, 12-day war with Iran. Already emerged that most of the THAAD missiles, interceptor missiles, and Patriot interceptor missiles were expended in the inventory. Those ones in the inventory of America and the inventory of Israel were expended by the unrelenting barrage of ballistic missiles and drones that the Iranians threw at the Israelis. So there's a depletion in the inventory of America, and it has now limited America's ability to go into war, especially as China has decided that they are going to control the export of rare earth metal magnets, which are very important components for those missile systems that should have been used in restocking the Israelis and the depleted American stock. So it's not possible that America will be in a hurry to go into a war now. But the threat of a new bombing of Iran is one that may just be an escape for Donald Trump, as this Epstein thing is chasing him left, right, and center, and just like a shadow that just wouldn't let him be, or a fly that's running after your tumbler of beer. The third person whose local wahala is disturbing him so much and who is in a very prayerful mood now is Volodymyr Zelensky. Volodymyr Zelensky is finding himself at a time when the Ukrainian army is on the back foot in the war with Russia. He's also finding himself having to fight a battle of legitimacy, a call for new elections, an attack by the anti-corruption agencies, an attack which he had swiftly tried to put down by taking their independence away from them and putting them under his administration and his office. And then the nationalist government, the people who formed the nationalist team, the nationalist parties, seem to want to edge him out and remove him and put him with their hero, the former General Zulushny. So these are his own local wahala. But unlike Trump and unlike Netanyahu, who may take some decisive global actions, he doesn't seem to have that option. But who knows? We have seen a situation where Zelensky and his cohorts have been able to spring surprises on the Russians, like the Kursk invasion or the Kerch bridge attack when nobody was expecting. They do some spectacular things. And in recent times, they've stepped up their bombing, their deployment of drones into Russia, depleting the Russian air defense systems. So who just knows? They may just have another plan up to do something spectacular that will either escalate the war or make Russia to take a decisive action. Everybody is having their local wahala, and everybody is thinking of how to extricate themselves from this local wahala and make things to go away. And this is where I end my video for today. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have any comments about the opinions I expressed here, please put them in the comment section. Do well to like and share. Until I see you in my next video. Goodbye.